Thanks to the support as a channel member, Rhino. Well, I didn't think I'd be making this intro this season. I reckon we're one win from safety. Did I mention Ricky J. Jones is quite good at football? I can't remember if it's come up before now. Hello and welcome to Club 2, part 29 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have two huge games that will hopefully, fingers crossed, finish off our relegation battle for the season. We're away against Crystal Palace, at home against Sheffield United. Since you were last with me, you can see that things have taken a bit of an upturn in form. Now, don't read too much into all the green. 3 of those were friendlies that we did during international breaks. So let's not get too carried away with all of the green. But there was some hugely important results in here. We obviously beat Tottenham in the last episode, thanks to that goal from Ricky J. Jones. We then also beat Liverpool in the next game. We went to Liverpool and won again with a Ricky J. Jones goal. We drew against Burnley, who were the team that had thumped us earlier in the season. So I'd still take that as a good result, even though Burnley are in and around, or were in and around the relegation zone in it with us. This was ridiculous, though, these next 2 results. A 3-0 win over Leicester with a Ricky J. Jones hat-trick, followed by a 4-0 win over Newcastle with another Jones hat-trick. He is single-handedly going to keep us in the Premier League. I have had some good players in the past. I don't know if I've ever had a player that has pretty much carried the team on his own the way Ricky J. Jones is for us this season. Maybe Cerner Jackie early on with Bourne last year, but even then he had Christian Gomez with him. Jones is all on his own doing all this, and it's ridiculous. He's the second top scorer in the Premier League from a team that were very much in a relegation battle. I mean, I guess we kind of still are. We're still only 6 points clear of the relegation zone. I know 11th place does look very, very fancy, but I think it's just because there's so many teams. The Premier League's a strange thing. You've got these 3 teams that are fantastic. You've got another 4, 5 that are all kind of thinking, maybe we can get in the Europa League. And then you've pretty much got everybody else who could easily be drawn into a relegation battle. West Ham and Tottenham probably think they're safe at this point. They've hit the 40-point mark. We're 1 win away from being there. But everyone below us is still very much still in the mix. And if we lose both of these games today against Palace and Sheffield United, who are both below us, we could very easily find ourselves back in the relegation fight by the end of this. So we need Jones to stay in the form that he's in. And we know he's very much a creature of form and confidence. He's now won the Premier League Player of the Month twice. Both times that he's won it, he's scored more goals than games he's played that month. But he's barely scored outside of those 2 months. It is now a new month. It is April. Can Ricky J. Jones do it in April, or does he only score goals in November and March? Even if he does, it's probably still been enough. But it would be nice for him to score again for us today. Another one of those hat-tricks would go down very nicely. The media now are important. It is because they're putting both of these games on the telly as well. That's how you know they're big games. They're making it onto the telly. So, there's been a little bit of transfer news as well, even though the transfer window is closed. We've sold De Frutos, all part of building for next year. We got a 4.1 million rising to 7.75 million pound offer for a player who's 29. And although he started 20 games for us this season, but I think we've got better options at the club. He'd kind of fallen out of the team recently and was in a position we were definitely going to be looking to strengthen this summer. And with Bizer here now and Armstrong in as well, and Patton coming back from his loan in the summer, I just don't see a space for him next year. So we took the offer now rather than waiting till summer. There's always the risk that if we get a couple of injuries, it's problematic, but fingers crossed, we won't. So we're going with Jaros in goal, or Yaros. I think it's probably Yaros. It could be Jaros. Let's say Yaros in goal. A back 4 of Ekwa, Elimbi, Doyle, Devine and Lopez, and Wassel and Barrett in midfield. He, by the way, we can't extend his loan for another year. We tried. Norwich want to use him in their first team next year. So I guess Jack Taylor can come back in next year. But beyond that, we don't really have any central midfielders. So central midfield is definitely somewhere we need to strengthen next year. We then got Armstrong, Bizer and Mighton supporting Jones up front. Bizer finally fit to actually come in and justify his £15 million price tag. And to be fair, he kind of is. 2 assists from 2 appearances. That's what we've signed him to do. Be the creative force to link this front three together. And hopefully we see more of that from him today. So we're away against Crystal Palace. They're only 3 points behind us in the league. So they'll be just as keen as we are to pick up a win today. And we've not been great away from home this season. So, like I say, we need one more win. I think the win we're aiming for is probably the one that's at home against Sheffield United, who, or for a lot of the season, Sheffield United were just the worst team in the Premier League by a mile. They've also clawed themselves out of the relegation zone currently, so it's probably the wrong time for us to play Sheffield United, but we fancy our chances against anybody at home. So even if this match doesn't go well, fingers crossed we pick up the win against them and just get to that 40-point mark, and then we feel comfortable. Until then, we're never going to be happy. So it's Bizer to take a corner. Only 4 minutes on the clock. I'm looking for Devine at that near post. It ends up with Barrett on the edge of the area, who's done well to keep hold of the ball there. But unfortunately, Doyle is the man that he's found. And Doyle wasn't going to create anything from that kind of position because he's a centre-back. My beard looks untidy. Unacceptable. Oh, my word. That's Yaros looked completely lost there. I think he was just as distracted as I was by discussion of my beard and didn't seem to be paying attention to what was going on around him. Luckily, we get away with it, and Doyle heads clear to Armstrong, but it ends up right back with Doyle again. But Bizer's coming back, getting involved in the midfield, winning the ball back, and there's a ball over the top for Jones, and Jones is in, and he's hit it wide, and oh dear, new month, and Jones is back to the frustration that he is for so much of the season. He's, I mean, it's an absolute madness with him. When he's in form, when he's playing well, everything he touches turns to gold. When he's not, it's frustration city. But fingers crossed that was just an out of character miss, and we're not re-entering frustration city because nobody likes it there. We don't want to be in frustration city. Right, Palace trying to build something here, and they have, and they've scored. And well, I mean, like I say, first game. We didn't need to win the first one. We've done a lot of good work over the last month or so during another Jones purple patch to mean that this game is less important than it was before. It's still important. I do suspect, I don't want to say this too loudly, I think we're probably just about safe regardless, because I don't think anybody... I think 37 points will be enough to stay up this year. Devine looked like he caught that. Never mind handball. He looked like a goalkeeper coming out and catching it. I mean, I'd send him off here. Even though double jeopardy and all that, I'd send him off anyway because that was so blatant. It was ridiculous. There's no accidental yellow card kind of handball there. That was absolute blatant. He came out and caught the thing. And Yaros makes the save, which is hopefully a turning point for this game because we haven't played very well so far. And hopefully we can pick things up from here and have a better second half. But it's not going to plan currently. And Palace with the throw. 1 minute left before half time. And Palace are looking to extend the lead. And to be fair, at 2-0 down, I don't think we can complain. And there you go. Because I think we've been that off the pace today. I think we deserve to be 2-0 down. I imagine XG probably backs that up as well. I don't want to see a filthy replay. I want to see the XG, but apparently we need to watch the kickoff rather than me having a little look at the XG to see if my suspicions are correct. Bizer's hit a beautiful pass, and Jones was in there. And again, it's not quite what we were looking for from Jones, but an excellent piece of football from Bizer over the top for him. And their XG is not quite up at 2, so maybe we don't deserve to be 2-0 down. But we certainly haven't played very well. First half, not good enough. Should we do the... Sometimes we do this. You weren't that bad, but I believe you can improve. No, that's not what I want to say. I'm very happy. No, I want that. I believe in you. Can you only do that before the game? Oh, well. We can only believe in the players before the game. I have to remember to do that a little bit more often. Right, fingers crossed, we do show something a little bit different in the second half. He says, having not changed anything. So the chances of us showing anything different are fairly slim. Are we really giving away a second penalty? Well, I mean, How do you know when the game has decided you've been in too good, your form's been too good lately and you need averaging back out again? When you concede 2 penalties in the first 49 minutes of a game, that's when you know things are going a little bit wrong. Ref, don't give it. It was outside of the area. Come on now. Well, okay, he's not giving it. It was outside of the area. What a referee. What a performance. They do have the free kick, though, and worryingly, it's actually staying on as a highlight, which sometimes they don't. When they do, it's usually a pretty good opportunity. And Yaros, again, making a decent save there. And it's a corner for Palace. And we really do need to get hold of this game. Corner comes in, Divine heads clear. This time, remembering he can use his head. He doesn't have to try and catch it. We're going to demand more. And I'm going to look at what have we got on the bench. Not much, really. We've sold or loaned out a lot of our fringe players who could come on and make a difference to really go with this 11, knowing that we're going to be doing a lot of transferring in the summer. Armstrong's been rubbish. That could pretty much summarise his Peterborough career. Armstrong's been rubbish. Roberts is... I'm going to take Jones off. I've got to send a message to Jones that he can't just have these terrible games that come out of nowhere. We're going to bring Odor on as well. And between them lot, we're going to figure out how to make that into a front three. That looks like it works for me. He needs to be a winger. He can do that. Does he want to be a pressing forward? No, apparently he doesn't. So we'll try this. We're going to go attacking as well. And we're just going to look at a different combination of attacking players. We're going to demand more. And we're going to hope that this different combination of attacking players does something. Burnley beating Manchester United whilst simultaneously drawing with Manchester United. Not entirely sure how that works, but that's weird. And we did nothing. We made those substitutions and nothing happened. Well, that's how you come back down to earth with a bump after a good run of form. Now the Sheffield United game, little bit more important than it was before, I think. Couple of changes for the Sheffield United game then. One forced, one just correcting something that was forced for the last one. Williams is now back and able to come back into the team at left back, so Ekwa Olimbi can move across to players out, covering centre back, which is really what we signed him to do. He's a natural covering centre back, and that's where I plan to play him more often than not. It's where he's played most of his games. But Yaros has picked up an injury, just a little one. He could probably play, but Jaskalainen's on the bench and fully fit, so it makes sense to just swap them over and give Yaros a game off to recover and get Jaskalainen back into the side for this match. So Sheffield United, I think 16th in the league. We're two teams who were very much in and around that relegation zone for most of the season. I expect a much better performance from you tonight. And now we're going to do the pump fists. I have faith in you to make a difference. I think this is a little bit cheesy doing this, but it does seem to have an impact. And it's one of those games where we need an impact. Thank you very much. I'd like to say in the Premier League. So Sheffield United, they're 15th now, but only 2 points outside of the relegation zone themselves. Interesting to see Norwich in the relegation zone. I wonder how the Wassell situation changes if they're the Championship team and we're the Premier League team. We're obviously not going to be able to loan him, but we might be able to buy him in that situation. They are saying they want to use him in their team next year, and if they're a relegation threatened side, I can imagine they would. He's a very good midfielder. But I'd be very much up for buying him if the opportunity comes up. If we can get him on the cheap on a relegation release clause, which I don't know if he has one, but even so, if they're a Championship side, I'd like to think we can unsettle them. Although I imagine our reputation will still be lower than theirs, even though we'll hopefully be the team in the Premier League. Armstrong on the left-hand side, bursting into the penalty area. He's been fouled there. Surely he's been fouled there. The ref has blown, and I think we've got a penalty. It looks like he's talking to his little TV gang, but I think the penalty's about to be given. Referee, we'll have a penalty, please. Yes? Yes? What? I mean, the referee in the last game was a hero. This one, absolute monster. They're probably the same referee. I'm not having that. That was a penalty. Why would he fall over otherwise? Are you trying to suggest he might have wanted a penalty and fell over when he wasn't fouled? Absurd. I am offended at the suggestion. Wassell's dropped very deep there and then given the ball away and cost us a goal. Well, Well, that wasn't the plan for today. What is he doing back here? Why does he get the ball? And why does he seem so afraid of it when he gets it? He's playing as our deep-lying playmaker. That was awful. This game has not started well. We're already demanding more. Thankfully, the teams... I mean, it's been the motto of the season. Thankfully, there's 3 worse teams in the Premier League than we are. And we should still get away with it, but we could have been home and dry today. Hopefully, we still will be. Armstrong dancing into the area again. He's been clattered again. The referee has blown again. Are we having a penalty this time? Because they've done that to him twice now, ref. So if you could give a penalty, that'd be grand. Quite frankly, I'd like you to give 2. If you don't give this one, I'm writing to the FA. Thankfully, we have a penalty. Myton to take. Did I choose Myton as our penalty taker? I'm not sure he's ever scored a goal for us. He's certainly never taken a penalty before, but he has scored that one. So I'm a genius. He'd scored once before. I'm a genius for putting him on penalties, which obviously I did. Obviously, I haven't forgotten to list penalty takers and left the game to do it. But it's 1-1. We're back into the game. That's important. If we can grab a second one before half-time and going to half-time ahead, that would be even more important because we've got to be beating Sheffield United. They've been rubbish all year. They are in a resurgence, but not interested. I'll relegate them. I don't care. Get out of here. Let us win a football match. Point finger, time for everybody to dig in. It is time for everyone to dig in. I think we might even go attacking fairly on in this second half. There's not going to be many more opportunities to... Oh, Williams is injured. There's not going to be many more opportunities to get a home win against a team we should be able to beat, and Armstrong has scored. It was only earlier in this episode. Was it even before this match I was saying Armstrong had been a disappointment? He has been the attack on his own today. He's had those 2 penalties, one that wasn't given, and now he's got himself a header, even though he's only about 4'2". He's got himself a header from a long throw. We're 2-1 up. Massive, enormous stuff. Odor's on at left back, which I'm now thinking I should have moved Ekwa out there and brought Doyle on, but I just went with the dugout because I'm an idiot. That's not quite... I mean, Odor's no left back. Jones has been trash again. He can only do it in 1-month bursts. That's what I've decided. Wassel, also rubbish. So Taylor can come off for him. Barrett can be the playmaker. And we'll go with that for these final few minutes. There's 20 minutes left. Come on, boys. As it stands right now, we're on 40 points. There's Everton in 8th are on a negative goal difference. The Premier League is so lopsided. We've got a corner. It's Odor to take. Ekwa there, and that is an enormous... I've said enormous a lot today. It's huge. It's gigantic. What a way to get your first goal for a club you only joined in January. Pierre-Emmanuel Ekwa has probably just got the goal, I'll say hopefully, got the goal that keeps us in the Premier League because Sheffield United aren't scoring twice in these last 5 minutes, surely. And we're on 40 points as it stands. It's not mathematically certain yet. If we get relegated on 40 points, I'm gonna be writing I'll write a letter to Sports Interactive. I'm writing a lot of letters today as well. Myton out to Lopez. Are we going to go for number 4? Berat to Lopez again. Cross comes over. Taylor was lurking when he maybe shouldn't have been because he wasn't anywhere near the ball. And it's given. Oh, there you go. That's what Jack Taylor should be doing. Just stopping these counterattacks in their tracks. Not that he has, but he slowed it down a little. Odor always knew he was a left back. And Armstrong always rated him charging forward. Again, this is brilliant from Armstrong. What a performance he's given today. Armstrong shooting from range into the arms of Ramsdale in goal for Sheffield United. And you know what? With 5 games to go, we could even end up finishing in the top half of the table, which is absolutely ridiculous, bearing in mind where we were recently. It shows how poor the bottom half of the Premier League is. Maybe poor is not the right way to phrase it. How much worse than the top 6, the bottom 14 are. The fact that you just need to string together 4 or 5 wins. I mean, we've maybe won. This is maybe 4 wins in 8 games, which is, I mean, it wouldn't be promotion form lower down the league, but it's shot us up from 17th to on the cusp of the top half. If we'd have started this run a little sooner, we could have ended up in Europe. which, oh, can you imagine? We're not going to end up in Europe. I can already hear the calls of FM21's too easy in the comments again. Have you seen the shape of this season? This has been the hardest work I've ever done in a Football Manager season. This has been a challenge. We've had to pull every trick out of the bag. We've had to do the individual pre-match team talks. We've had to do friendlies during international breaks. If there's a thing we can do to try and do the best for the club, we've done it. You can guarantee we've got team bonding and match reviews on every week in our training. That's how much this season's mattered. I've gone in and changed training. We've gone for it, and I think at this point it's probably paid off. We're on 11th, on 40 points. Whew, take a breath, Kev. Wonderful stuff. And we will be back tomorrow to probably finish off. I imagine we're going to lose the next 3 games now. Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal. So we'll be back for Villa and Everton. And hopefully we rubber stamp everything and find out where we're going to finish and start planning for next year. What a season. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.